When people think about the American Revolution, they often imagine one dramatic moment: the Declaration of Independence, the Boston Tea Party, or the famous shot heard around the world. But revolutions don't begin overnight. The American Revolution was not sparked by a single event. It was the result of years of growing frustration, political disagreement, economic pressure, and a changing idea of what freedom truly meant. This is how the American Revolution really began. In the early 1700s, the 13 British colonies along North America's Atlantic coast were thriving. Farmers grew crops, merchants traded across the Atlantic, and busy ports like Boston, New York, and Philadelphia became centers of commerce. Most colonists considered themselves proud British subjects. They benefited from British protection, traded within the British Empire, and had little desire to separate from the crown. Everything changed after the French and Indian War, which ended in 1663. Although Britain won the war, victory came at a huge financial cost. The British government believed the colonies should help pay for defending North America. New taxes followed, including the Sugar Act, the Stamp Act, and later the Tea Act. The taxes themselves were not especially high by European standards. The real issue was political. The colonists argued that they had no elected representatives in the British Parliament. Their complaint became famous: no taxation without representation. To many colonists, this was no longer just about money. It was about rights. Resistance spread quickly. Newspapers criticized British policies. Public meetings grew larger. Merchants organized boycotts of British goods. Ordinary citizens began discussing ideas about liberty, self-government, and individual rights. These ideas were influenced by Enlightenment philosophers such as John Locke, who argued that governments existed to protect the rights of the people, not rule without their consent. One of the most dramatic turning points came in 1770. British soldiers fired into a crowd of protesters in Boston, killing 5 people. The incident became known as the Boston Massacre. Colonial leaders used the event to rally public opinion against British rule. 3 years later, another confrontation captured international attention. In December 1773, a group of colonists boarded British ships in Boston Harbor and dumped hundreds of chests of tea into the water. The protest became known as the Boston Tea Party. Britain responded by closing Boston Harbor and imposing strict new laws, known by the British as the Coercive Acts and by many colonists as the Intolerable Acts. Instead of weakening resistance, these measures united many of the colonies. In 1774, representatives from 12 colonies met in Philadelphia at the First Continental Congress. They did not yet declare independence. Instead, they demanded that Britain respect what they believed were their constitutional rights. But trust between the two sides had already begun to disappear. Both Britain and the colonies started preparing for possible conflict. On April 19, 1775, British troops marched toward Concord, Massachusetts, hoping to seize colonial military supplies. Colonial militia met them at Lexington. No one knows who fired the first shot. Within minutes, fighting had begun. The battles of Lexington and Concord marked the beginning of the American Revolutionary War. As British soldiers returned to Boston, thousands of colonial militia surrounded them, turning a military mission into a full-scale rebellion. What had started as a political dispute had become an armed revolution. Even then, many colonists still hoped for reconciliation, but over the following year, support for independence continued to grow. Pamphlets such as Common Sense, written by Thomas Paine, persuaded many Americans that complete independence was the only solution. Then, on July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress approved the Declaration of Independence. the colonies officially declared themselves the United States of America. The American Revolution did not begin with one speech, one protest, or one battle. It grew from years of debate, disagreement, and changing ideas about government and individual rights. Economic policies, political representation, Enlightenment philosophy, and escalating conflict all combined to reshape history. Understanding how the American Revolution really began reminds us that great historical events are rarely caused by a single moment. They are built step by step, until one day, the course of history changes forever.